Hello, I'm Paul Simon. This is the first of the Chamber Voice Patrons interviews, and I'm delighted to be joined by Pat Lewis, who is the chairman at Source One.
That's right.
Pat, can you tell us a bit about the company? What do you do?
Source One. Well, we've been around for 20 years now. Our main act of business, I'd say, is office and commercial space refit. But that phrase encompasses an awful lot more than that. But we do that. We'll talk to people, talk to clients, go to people's offices. They'll want to change, they'll want to move, they'll want to refurb, and we'll sit down and we'll talk with them and find out what they want to do, and give them some advice and some designs and some inspiration, and then we go from there. Really, it's a process, and a very easy process. Well, we make it.
Well, I'm sure that's right. You mentioned 20 years.
Yes.
You're the founder, is that right? And I just wonder how things have changed in terms of what the company offers and how it does business and its kind of client base over those 2 decades.
Strange actually. I started in I've had sort of experience in lots of different industries, mainly in office furniture and office refit and office stationery. Strangely enough, the Chamber used to be one of my customers many years ago, when I worked for someone before I started on my own. I actually did this refit in this office here 20 odd years ago, so which was interesting.
Yes.
We started off from my background as basically not just an office furniture company.
Right.
Desks, chairs, we'd help people plan their offices out, but it was mainly at the office furniture side. But I saw perhaps a gap in the market, and also a need where the internet was becoming much more prevalent in life, and people could go on the internet and they could buy a desk and a chair. Didn't take away from the service that we offered, but it was easier perhaps for someone to say, I need 5 desks, 5 chairs, and then buy on the internet. So we needed to make ourselves different and indispensable, really. So we opened up our services to be able to go in and talk to people about moving walls, helping them design their offices, flooring, ceilings, walls, everything that encompasses an office really, or a commercial space. So we made ourselves, as I think, sort of, indispensable in what we do, really.
Everything was going absolutely hunky-dory, and then March 2020 and the COVID-19 pandemic. And that must have been quite a challenging period for you. And subsequently as well, with a greater emphasis on hybrid working or sometimes total virtual working, what has that done to your business in terms of how you work and the kinds of demands that you're now responding to?
It was strange actually, and being totally honest, the day, I think it was March the 16th, I think we were all sort of homebound. First few weeks I woke up and thought, you know what, we've worked at the time, that time then, my wife was MD, and my daughter worked in the business as well. I thought, oh dear, we've worked all these years to build up what we've built up, and what's going to happen? It was just, it was a scary world for everybody. Yes. And I think probably 2 or 3 weeks you come to terms with it and say, right, okay, what's happening with the world? We have no control over this, so we have to work around it. Strangely enough, actually, during that time, because we were classed as construction, we were still allowed to work. We had clients who had projects sort of that were ongoing, and I think in every downtime you have to look for the positives, look for the opportunities, and as you said, it is a change in office life. People were working from home. Offices over that period of the sort of 2 years really, wasn't it? You looked at companies were shutting down their operation, moving people to hybrid working, and for us there were still opportunities in that. If people are moving out of an office, more often than not, there's a landlord who will want that premises returned to the condition it was before his client moved in. So dilapidations was an opportunity for us to return that office to where it needed to be, to the landlord's satisfaction. And strangely enough, most of our work is in East Anglia.
Right.
We found that, obviously, when the pandemic first hit, things quietened down. But it was only probably, I'd say, a couple of months we found that regionally, certainly in our industry, that people still wanted to grow. And strangely enough, that first year of the pandemic, was our second biggest year ever, which was really strange.
That's interesting. But now, of course, we've done the pandemic, but now we're facing some sort of really core, long-term, possibly trading challenges, inflation, access to labour, general business uncertainty, worries about excessive corporate taxation, interest rates, etc. What are your trading conditions like, and what do you think more generally as a business leader in Suffolk the situation will be like for companies for the next 2 to 3 years?
Firstly, for us as a business, we've never been so busy. I think that thing of companies, naturally want to grow. They want to grow their business. They want their turnover to be more. They want to be more profitable. And we've also seen that there's been a certain flow of companies now wanting their employees to come back more and more into the office.
Okay.
Again, that's regionally. I think you read about, even London-centric companies. I think you're seeing that more and more. They want their staff now to come back, and I think staff want to come back to work. They want to come back to an office. You've got that camaraderie. You've got that, oh, did you see Coronation Street last night? And that general mixing of ideas and getting people together, which you can't do over a Zoom call. You can't have this two-way conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Suffolk as a whole, I think, again, using our business as a barometer, it looks like it's continuing to grow.
How many people do you employ?
We only employ 5 people.
Gosh, that's tough.
But we have a good band of contractors around us who do all the things that we need to be done within a fit-out project.
Yes.
And we work with those people an awful lot.
Are you experiencing any challenges though in terms of
supply? Was a problem. Supply of raw materials was a problem.
How are you de-risking that?
Well, you have to sort of again try and think around the problem sometimes. And I'm very much one for in our industry. If somebody needs something and we've got it and they need it.
Yes.
You help people out.
Yes.
I think there's a big thing around certain industries where you should help they're your competitors. At the end of the day, as long as we all have a share of what's going on, and you can help them, hopefully they'll help you back if you need it. And I think you also create a better working environment.
Yes.
And we worked our way around it. We're lucky that our contractors are just as important to us as our clients. Without one, we don't have the other. And we look after our contractors really well. We've always, we got paid. We pay our contractors on time.
Yeah, good.
We look after them.
Yeah.
When they're on a project first day, either Lisa and Chloe will be in on that project, helping get started off. They're going to the shop. They're going to McDonald's. They're there. They're getting the teas and the coffees, and it is a partnership.
For many companies, inflation has been a real challenge in terms of raw materials, in terms of components, in terms of labour costs. And there have been some companies that I talk to who have actually changed their pricing model. They've shifted from spot to forward pricing, almost anticipating that when they begin a job, 2-3 months or whatever down the line from having signed the contract, raw materials will be greater, cost of labour will be greater. Have you faced similar challenges? And have you found yourself in a position where actually you've had to undertake a job that your margins have been squeezed to the point where you might not be making very much on them, but you still honour it?
We've always liked to work in a certain way. As we're open, and we have to be open. That's the way we like to work. We don't like surprises in our business, and we don't expect our clients to have surprises either.
Yes.
We're open with them, so that relationship with a client is, you're working on a project such as this office, for instance. You have to be, you build a real close relationship with that person or persons, and we will give a price on a project, and invariably, 99 times out of 100, during the course of that project, things will change.
Yep.
The client will say, do you know what, actually, can we move that there, or can we have this extra, or that wall, can we have glass instead of thinking? So that is constantly changing, and the way we work is we produce a spreadsheet that the client has complete openness to, so they see exactly at every point that they need to, where their cost level is. So we look at our, it's not just about products, it's about service. What we do is there's an art to to managing a project.
So you're used to having dynamic contracts, and
yes.
use the word art. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So for you, that kind of flexibility, that kind of dialogue, is built in.
It is,
whether you're facing inflationary pressures or not.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Taking a slightly more strategic view, as a long-standing business person, with great strength in Suffolk and, as you said, the wider East Anglian market, if you had policymakers around this table, ministers, civil servants, council leaders, what one change would you like them to make that would improve your trading conditions?
I think there's two things, if I'm allowed it.
Please do. Push away.
One is having been 20 years having our own business and my own business from the start. I think there is a gap where when you're starting your business, you're sitting there on day one with perhaps a computer and a desk and thinking, oh dear, you get the buyer's remorse, what have I done? And if you need help, no, that help is there, but I think that there is something missing where there needs to be support for new businesses from people who have actually done it before. Who've been there.
So peer-to-peer.
Yeah, peer-to-peer, certainly. That's a really important, and I know there's lots of information available, but peer-to-peer, I think, for people starting a new business, I think is so important.
Okay, point one. Point two, what else would you like to push?
I think businesses need help. For instance, corporation tax. An SME has to pay their corporation tax. Usually in one hit.
Yep.
Whereas businesses of over X amount of millions of turnover, unless I'm wrong, are allowed to pay it, step it over. Now that, for me, should be flipped around. As newer and smaller businesses, why did most businesses fail? Not because they're not very good. Cash flow. They run out of money.
And we're seeing from our recent survey work that cash flow is being squeezed across all sectors in Suffolk.
Yeah.
And the predominant concern is the impact of taxation on cash flow and other indicators. What are the Chamber's current sort of key issues and campaign asks relates to business rates, which of course is an input cost, unrelated to performance, to turnover or productivity. Do you have any particular views as to what kind of reforms you'd like to see, or would you like to see business rates totally scrapped and replaced by a much more performance-led measure?
Yeah, like sort of means related tax. Yeah, I think we pay our corporation tax, and there's certain parts of that you think, you know what, I don't mind paying more corporation tax. None of us wants to pay corporation or large amounts of it, but there's certain parts of industry where you don't mind paying more. But if people can spread it out, and I think, say, for me, I'm very much into new businesses, into small businesses, having been there ourselves.
Sure.
And the SMEs are the lifeblood of this country, aren't they? They're the ones that pay the taxes and pay with the most amount of employees. Make it easy for those people to continue in business and to grow. And I think you have to look at it on a long-term scale. You put certain things in on a long-term basis, and you might take a while to get there. Yes, but you will eventually reap the benefits of that long-term procedure. Which I'm not a politician. Don't ever claim to be.
Don't be doing fine. Don't you are.
Don't want to be. But I think there needs to be a system where certain policies are put in place over a period of time, whether that is A, B or C government to allow businesses to grow and to give them the opportunity to grow.
Do you fear that we're so trapped now in the parliamentary cycle, which is maximum of 5 years, and that government just does not do long-term thinking? Business people do long-term thinking. Right.
Yeah, and they need to come together.
Yeah.
There needs to be, let's say, certain policies that are out of the 5-year government term.
Yes,
I believe.
Yes.
To give business that chance to grow.
Yes.
And a chance to be good at what they're good at.
Yes. Now you also travel around the county
Yeah.
and the region quite a bit, and you'll know another key focus of the Chamber's lobbying work is to upgrade the strategically significant infrastructure in the county, roads, A14 in particular, rail, 5G. As well, I just give us a sense here from the front line as what is your experience of our infrastructure in Suffolk, and what priorities would you like to see given by government to upgrading and improving our infrastructure in the longer term?
I think with the free ports that are coming now, and I think with the Port of Felixstowe being one of the, if not the biggest container port in Europe, having 2 lanes either way is just not enough. I mean, that traffic is going to, if things are successful as they want the free ports to be, and there's going to be more coming in and more going out, those 2 roads are not big enough. I'm sure we've all experienced, you get a small accident or a blowout or from someone, everything comes to a standstill. How it works, I don't know, I'm not a road planner, but those, you certainly need to look at extending those roads, making them wider, 3 lanes where they can, because there's going to be an awful lot of traffic coming backwards and forwards.
Absolutely, and we've been campaigning for the whole of the A14 in Suffolk to be upgraded. We were promised that it would be an expressway, whether that's 2 lanes or 3 lanes, certainly to motorway level standards, and we're still pushing for specific upgrades to specific junctions such as that at Copdog. But it's a way to go, and hopefully politicians will have listened to what you've just said. Finally, you've become a patron of Suffolk Chamber. Congratulations, very wise decision. Why?
I've got a few people I know that are patrons already, and having spoken to them, and it was a decision for us that we've been around in Suffolk for 20 years, and we're very proud of that, and we're proud to have grown from 0 to where we are today. We're proud to have worked with companies in Suffolk that we've grown with, that have started from scratch, and we've helped them with 1 desk and 1 chair, and whilst they've grown, we've grown with them. I think I'll go back to my earlier point actually. For me personally, if there's an opportunity to, as a business, we give back. It's important, the business around here is a community. We take out that community by clients, dealing with us and buying from us. You should give back, and I think that's very much important for me, is that any opportunity to give back, certainly, as I said earlier, to the smaller businesses in Suffolk where they need help, they need advice, they need a shoulder to cry on, because people are going to need that. Certainly, as we're saying, with the pressures of the next few years, for me that's a big part of it, is being able to be there if somebody wants some help, or sharing my experiences with other patrons and new members coming in. If they need it, then we're there as a business to talk them through what we did and how we did it, and we've done things right, we've done things wrong, we've tried stuff, some works, some doesn't, but it's all part of that SME journey, really.
Pat Lewis, thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure, thank you.